That intro gets me freaking pumped. Val, you were going crazy. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to episode 2 of Monday Night Heat from Hobby Hotline. This week, of course, we've got myself from Let Me Get That Potograph podcast. Also with me is Val Marz from NASCAR Radio. Val, how's it going?
Sir, how are you? Hey, everybody.
And we also have from the show you may have heard of called About the Cards, and you probably argued with him on Twitter, Mr. Ben Wilson. What's going on, man?
Hey, good evening. If you haven't argued with me on Twitter, what's going on? Why haven't we?
Right. And it's just because they don't follow you. I mean, that's the only explanation that makes sense.
Or they have me blocked because we've been there, done that.
Yes, that's also very, very possible. But guys, put the link in the chat. As always, we are the only Hobbies live call-in show, and we would love to have you call in and any questions, comments, anything, even if there's just something you want to get off your chest, call in, let us know. That's the point of this show. Look at me making some rhymes. All right. Well, I guess we'll dive right into it, guys. And, you guys weren't on the show on Saturday, but we talked a little bit about Project 2020. And I wanted to follow up a little bit on that because when we were talking about it on Saturday, the print runs were still pretty high, like the ones that had been released, they were still pretty high. We hadn't really seen some of the ones since some of the higher ones had been released. Well, obviously a lot of them had been released since then, and you're starting to see the print runs drastically drop again. And then you also had Ben Jamison come out, which of course Sports Card Investor came out, made a video saying about how this was an awful investment. You should run away from it. I see Ben laughing, and I'm laughing on the inside, but I have to actually explain this, so I can't laugh yet. But he made a video talking about how it's a terrible investment and you need to run away from it. And then Blake Jamison came out making a video basically saying he's full of, trying to keep it PG. But so he said they're full of it, and it kind of got that debate going again, and I'm kind of on the fence on it a little bit. I have a couple of different opinions on it, but I wanted to get your guys' opinions. As you see, the print runs obviously skyrocket, a couple of them up close to 100,000, but then you're seeing them drop back down to around the 20, 30,000 level. And as Blake pointed out, when you go in the art world, short prints, in terms of the art world, that's not that much. And so what do you guys see when you look at these drop back down? And, if you're looking at these two arguments, I guess, for those sake, whose side would you be on, long term?
Ben?
Yeah. So obviously we saw this huge spike a few weeks back. And the reason we saw that was you started to see, we saw it with Topps Living a couple years ago. People weren't yet aware of what the product and the program was. And so those first 20 or so cards were extremely expensive for people that wanted to go back and complete the set. Now, that was really a set-driven product and program, unlike Project 2020, where you could just dabble your feet, get your feet wet on anything. You want to collect a specific artist or player or just what you like or none of the above. So you started seeing these outrageous secondary prices just jump. All these first 10, 20, 30 cards were selling for enormous amounts. And by the time that the Ken Griffey, Keith Shore came out, which was really that peak moment, everybody's like, I could buy for $20. The three of us can't even go out to McDonald's together. We can barely go out to Starbucks together for $20, right? And I could buy this card and I can literally make my next 5 car payments with a $20 bill. Nobody stopped and thought, this is not going to be sustainable. There will be a contingency of certain sellers that are going to be able to benefit off of this. But once we all had that idea at the same time, I had better get in before it's too late. Man, that bus already left the station and it was 3 or 4 states away. Sorry. And then we start to see, I think it was Tony Gwynn's was at 65 grand. Keith Shore's was at close to 100. Well, the problem with this is when everybody has 1 or 10 or 20, you have no buyers that are interested. Right. And really, these sellers are cashing out immediately because they probably, and this is just my guess, and a lot of other people share it, they're probably so leveraged in credit card debt because they bought 20, 30 of these,
right,
that they've now got to cash out at an immediate loss. Why you would cash out so quick? Things happen, right? I mean, people lost their backside when the housing market crashed back in 2008. And you had to do a short sale, and you had to be foreclosed upon. Things happen. But to buy it today and sell it at a loss next week, it shows you how leveraged these guys were, or gals.
Right.
How much. And right now, I still think you're going to be able to make some money if you're careful with what you're doing. But you're going to have to understand this. And that guy Jeff over at Sports Card Investor, that guy is an absolute tool.
Yes. No, he is, but I want to just point out something real quick, because you said the bus left the station, everything like that. I think also that 99,000, that 90 some whatever it was print run on the Griffey, I think also scared a lot of people away. Because I'm showing you right here card 104, which is one that just ended. The print run's back down to 11,000. So and there's other ones that are very similar to that. You're looking at a print run of 11,000 for the Clemente as well, which is actually a beautiful card done by a very big artist. So I don't think it is, completely left the station. I just think you have to be a little smarter about where you put your money in.
No, the Henderson and Clemente only had a 1 card difference on the print run.
Yeah,
which
it's crazy.
I believe, which I think means a lot of people are still probably buying the bundle. I mean, that's just probably a statistical anomaly that we won't see again. 2 of them that are that.
Oh
close.
Yeah, that close. Yeah, no, absolutely.
But it's one of those things. Yeah, if I obviously got the Henderson because I'm an A's collector.
Yeah.
Had I bought the Clemente as well, it'd be something to stash away for another day. You're not going to be able to flip it as immediate as we've seen.
No.
Maybe not even this calendar year. Maybe some of this stuff needs to sit for a year or two in order to make profits. But it just became silly there for a 2-3 week window. And, we still don't really know what this is because it's very novel. We haven't seen this before in our hobby, regardless of sport. This is a very interesting idea. And we just don't know what it's going to be long term. We've kind of seen some of the ebbs and flows of the short term. Just be careful if you're out there listening and you're considering buying or you have bought. Don't put yourself in personal debt over the hopes that you can flip a $20 bill into a 5, 10, 15, 20x multiplier, as we've seen some people do in the past. I think that ship more or less has sailed. But there's still a lot of money to be made, especially if you've got one of the top 30 or 40 cards that have extremely low print runs, comparatively speaking. Yeah, absolutely. Val, what about you?
Yeah, I'm curious to see kind of where this goes. Ben was talking, it reminds me of like the junk wax era, kind of compressed in a month, where people were buying more than they would normally with the intention to sell, flip, and everybody was going to make, thousands of dollars off of their, they bought 5 for $90 or whatever. And I guess folks jumping in, trying to grab the first couple, everybody, buying the 5-pack or whatever. And then everybody trying to sell at one time, and it just couldn't sustain it. You should never buy stuff on credit hoping to flip, because I've been doing this a long time, and just when you think something, something else will happen. So, but it's good to see, them coming down. I think the long term, we don't know about this, right? With the right. Do you collect it? So do you like one card and you're going to collect that card from every artist, or you're just going to collect one artist? So it's.
Well, I kind of mentioned this on Saturday's show, and that's, and Blake Jameson mentioned this in his video a little bit. He explained it a lot better because, he's involved in this. But I think what we're going to see is possibly the collector side of things obviously cool off pretty fast. But in terms of in terms of the art world, in terms of the fans of the artists that are getting into this that wouldn't normally be buying cards, as he said, a lot of them are coming to him to have them do custom things with these. There are custom pieces that are being built around these cards. Like in the art world, they're looking at these in a different way than we are, where it's don't take it out of the encased seal that Top sent you. And that's what Blake was saying, that the entire, like the art side of the world views this as something to build upon and a certain different aspect of, art in a different medium than they're used to collecting. And so that's where I can kind of see some value, but I think it's going to be in the long term. Yeah, I don't think it's going to be short term, but we actually have a caller on the line now, and I know he's got something to say about Project 2020 because he was on Saturday as well. Ziggy, welcome back to the show, bud. What's going on?
Hey, guys. Thank you very much for having me. Appreciate it. Big fan of the show.
Absolutely.
So
what's going on?
My thoughts are, so look, I got in on card 77s when I started doing this, and I am getting every card going forward. But I'm looking at this differently, right? I'm looking at this as there are still opportunities to make sets of 20, right? Because that's what this is really about. So that means I can get the 20 cards, just one of each of the next, of all the players, in dozens of different variations, right? Between the next 300 cards, and sell those sets of 20 just there, right? Or I can go back and chase 20 of one player. And I have to go back in the old market and buy some of those cards more expensively. But I can also, moving forward, right, collect 20 from one artist, right? I don't have to get the same card. I get the same card a few times. So there's so many different options in the set that you can do right now. So I think people need to calm down. I also think this shows, as Val mentioned, attention spans. Man, it's like the beginning of the second quarter of a really long football game, right? And like half the people have already left the game and said it's over and they went home. It's just, I think it's kind of shocking. One question I have, because I've seen all these interviews, right? I mean, I can probably get an interview with any one of the artists because they'll jump on a phone with anybody.
Yeah.
Do they make more money based on their print runs, right? Or did they sign a fixed contract with Topps where they're coming in and saying, hey, I'm going to get this much money? Because you're right. They get a lot of extra business and a lot of exposure in the art market. But there's got to be an advantage for them saying, look, if I get 99,000 print run, I got to assume that Shore got a little bonus check there, right? I mean, anybody know or have any idea?
Somebody had made a comment, and I don't know where, so don't quote me, and it's coming fourth hand at best, right? But I think the commission rate is around 1.5%.
Yep, somewhere right around there.
So they first off, if you're an artist, Ziggy, you would be able to buy every card you want and as much as you want at $6 a piece. So where we're paying 16 plus on the secondary market, or 17.5 direct from Topps, they're able to buy as many as they want for $6 each. I would imagine they probably get a flat rate. I don't know, but I believe the commission is around a 1.5. So Keith Shore had a very nice payday. If you want to extrapolate that and do some math on that one real quick, he made a decent chunk of change. I mean, this set very well could turn these artists into millionaires if they're not there already. Because,
and you're also,
go ahead.
No, I was also saying you're also seeing a lot of these artists now doing almost secondary customs where like they're buying their own, doing another variation of it, a little bit, signing it and then selling that on their website. So they're even taking this a step further beyond that. But yes, you were correct, Ben. They do get an actual. I don't know the percentage. I saw the same thing you did, so I'm not going to ask you to quote me either. But it is right around there.
That's what I was going to.
An idea.
I was going to say
an idea for somebody. If anybody, go. I'm sorry, Val. Go ahead.
I was going to say that one thing I saw was I did buy the Baller Trout, and I did see what my intention was as a NASCAR guy is getting stuff signed on the card. So I was looking at it as, all right, you can get these signed by the players, get these signed by the artist. And then my intention was to send them to Ben Baller or whatever, but he's doing the autographs kind of on the secondary market as an add-on. And then I saw some other artists, they were buying 1,000 of them and stuff. So to your point, they can, they're looking at different ways of moving these as well as helping their numbers.
Yeah,
I was a suggestion. If anybody's listening, we need somebody to build a case that displays 20 of these, right? that I can put on my desk that's got a nice little latch on it that you can brand it, right? It's Project 2020, one of everyone, or, the Trout collection. Someone needs to make that for me. Let me know, because I will buy a couple. But I think it's a great business idea. Guys, I'm going to drop off and listen. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks. Always a pleasure, bud.
To Ziggy's point real quick, we see Topps Living baseball. We've seen it in soccer. We've seen it, and I'm going to relate it to the Star Wars Topps Living. Because he had made the point, you could sell these in smaller sets. We don't know what they're going to be, right? Well, our friend Topps Livingston on Twitter, one thing that he does when these the Star Wars come out is he puts them by the movie that they come out, right? So when all is said and done, when there's 500, 1,000 of the top Star Wars living, are you just going to want A New Hope or Return of the Jedi or Phantom Menace? Because you'd probably be able to go out there and on the secondary either build it or buy it ready-made. This is my favorite movie of the entire series, or I just want the original 3, episodes 4, 5, and 6. That's it. That's how my dad was starting to collect. He was just going to collect the original trilogy and then maybe one here or there before I talked him into collecting the entire set. And because if he dies, I get it. So that's pretty cool. But, we don't know. I mean, obviously the idea is going to be, I'm going to want all of Blake Jameson's or Ben Baller's or Matt Taylor's. I'm going to want personally, I'm collecting all the McGuire's and Henderson's. So you're going to be able to have different groups forming within the umbrella. And so, we don't know what that secondary market's going to be next year when all of them are out on the eve of Project 2120 or 2021. We don't know what that's going to be. 20 artists with 21 subjects, 21 artists with 20 subjects. We don't know. And I would imagine that would be the time, really, if you're going to squirrel away a couple, next March is going to be a very hot time to pull them out, dust them off, and list them.
Yeah, I think, they can go with other sports as well, right? Iconic football, iconic hockey.
Well, they can't. I don't know if they can go with football. I would have to check to see how that license would work.
They had the original.
Yeah, that's why I don't know if they'd be able to reproduce them or not. That would be awesome. I know they did say that they were not doing baseball next year, but they said that they will do it in some way, shape, or form. But yes, as the comments are saying, Val's jackets are legendary, as I said. It's always a great one.
One other thing I was saying,
fail.
I was going to say is that some of the heat taken off of it is that Bowman's released, right? And some other stuff. Yeah. So the printing presses are back up, stuff's coming out. So, everybody's on to the next chase, I guess, maybe.
Well, we had talked about this a couple of times on our show over the last few weeks, right around that peak. It's like Bowman's coming out, Panini Select is out, National Treasures is out, Mosaic is out. Now you've got Diamond Icons out. You've got Donruss Diamond Kings coming out. You got National Treasures. So the release calendar, June is a disgusting month on the pocketbook, regardless of what you collect every year. It's going to be even more condensed. And then here's the thing. Most of us are back at work now. We're getting back to work. We're back where our disposable income is going to go in their gas tank, into our coffee drinks and our lunches now. And I think we're starting to see the hobby kind of dissipate, and the crowd is breaking up a little bit now, where for 2 months we had nothing. I was going back buying all these Donruss and Gypsy Queen sets because that was all that was there for me personally. Now you had Project 2020 dropped on our lap. It was a daily thing, 5 days a week, 10 cards. We're all excited. We have no idea what they are. These artists are teasing it. Now I think as our minds are returning to our sports of choice, our players of choice, within the next 2 months, basketball's back, football's going to be ramping up, baseball's going to be there, but now, there's going to be a lot to take our attention back. And I don't think, I think that's going to adversely affect 2020, which could work to its advantage long-term.
And I think it will. But there are a couple of things I wanted to touch on that you had just mentioned. But we do have a question from YouTube that I would actually like to get y'all's opinion on, because I know I have a pretty strong one on it. It's from Derek Haggart. He asks, what do we think about the Topps Jeter set? Now, for those that aren't familiar, every Topps signed Jeter do an exclusive. And every single month they're doing for 30 days. It's a 30-day on-demand print run They're all chromium stock, but they're different Jeter cards every month. You've got regular versions, and then you've got autograph versions. Parallels all the way down to superfractors. I think the 1-of-1s autos go for about $5-6 grand on Topps website right away. And so they're doing these every single month. It's like a Jeter career retrospective, and it's an online exclusive set that you can find on Topps. I'll pull it up here in just a minute for you guys. But, so Topps signs Jeter to a set. I think that's great. I mean, to an exclusive. I think that's great. I would hate for it to be Panini to get that, because then, it's all unlicensed stuff. So I'm glad Topps ends up getting Jeter. But what do you guys think about this set? I'm going to save mine to see what you guys have to say first.
Well, if you want me to go first, I saw these, and I saw, I guess the Chrome version was like $20. I was thinking about getting one or two. And I looked at the autographs and then slowly backed away. As a NASCAR guy, none of the NASCAR guys charge for autographs. Right. Even the stars. Now they'll maybe do a VIP experience or some other stuff like that, but it is nowhere near the stuff there. So I didn't realize that it was every month, and then I did see this last one pop up, and the cheapest one I think was it's over close to $600. I think.
Yeah, 500. I'm showing it right here. Card number 2. Which is the one number to 99,
right?
Which is as high as it can go, is $574.99. Then you've got $699 for 49. Then you go all the way down to 1, and it's $5 grand. And they're doing this every single month. So, I mean, what do you got? You get Jeter to an exclusive. Is this what you really choose to do with the set? I mean, that's my big thing. I mean, you have Jeter to an exclusive. You can do anything you want, and you're just going to make basic Chrome cards celebrating his legacy and jack this print run and just pimp his auto out that much more on the secondary, on your own platform. Of course they are, but it's absurd to me. Use it some way, make a cool product, make something different, use these as insert sets and cool products, give other products a freaking chase, something for people to chase instead of having to beg distributors to dump it on people so they'll get 2 boxes of definitive. Do anything you can besides this crap, in my opinion. It just totally waters down Jeter's market, and it for no reason. You have him, he's signed, it's done. It just waters it down.
You've got to get your internal rate of return back, right?
Of course.
You've got to get your money back. They spent X, they've got to get Y, and they want to do it in a short order. And are we saying that Topps doesn't do this with everything? They bastardize their own stuff all the time, right?
Yes.
It's literally I love pizza and I love eating pizza, but I don't want to eat it for breakfast, lunch, and dinner 7 days a week for 30 days, right? I mean, they just keep doing it over and over again. And why do they do it? Because they can. And they're going to do it with the next thing and the next thing. And what do I personally think about it? I think it's just a money grab. I have no interest in it, but if you did dabble your feet in the water, it's probably going to be a really nice set to have if you're a Jeter guy, and if you want to try to flip it down the road. I don't know. I'm biased because if it was an A's thing, I would have to have it, but I try not to get too much into the autograph side of things because they're just so stupid priced. I mean, who wants to spend $700 on?
No, I completely agree with you. Right here, I mean, if you want one number to 49, you're paying $750. But I mean, his Chrome card, the non-auto, his first run, because this is card 2 they're on now. The non-autoed Chrome run ended up with just a print run at $3,664. I have a pretty good feeling that's because they freaking priced it at $22.22. Yes, I get it. You're queued, all 2s. That's really sweet, Topps, but. I mean, I think that's probably what contributed to the ridiculous print run. But I mean, yes, it's Chrome stock and everything. And I do think the Topps now Chrome stock cards are beautiful, but I don't think it's worth that price point. I think it's watering down Jeter on because he's also going to be in these products. It's not like, I mean, they are going to use these autos like crazy in products too. I would like them put out. We don't need the on-demand stuff for everything. I don't want these astronomical, ridiculous print runs for everything. You can put out limited little Tops Now things if you want. I don't know. This just really rubbed me the wrong way. When I see exclusive, I want to see you do something very special like Upper Deck does with their exclusives. They do a great job with their exclusive athletes on really making them feel important. And to me, this just feels like they're just saying, ha, we got you. So now let's dump 50,000 autographs and cards on people in addition to what else is in the packs.
Yeah, I was on recording a show for our co-host Mike Sommer and his podcast earlier today. And yeah, he had asked me, how my A's collection adapts over time and do I ever try to refocus it because it's already so specific. And I was like, one thing I try to cut back on is I don't need, the A's have 3 big rookies in 2020. They've got AJ Puck, Jesus Luzardo, and Sean Murphy. How many of those autographs do I really need? Because 1 or 2 of them is cool, but then when you start to get them in every product times all of the parallels, how many do you need at X cost, right? I mean, you can you don't need 10, 15, 20 of these things. I mean, I've got so many binders full of old autographs of guys like Cespedes and Ryan Healy and all of these other guys that are no longer with the team that I'm not enjoying on a daily basis watching them.
Right.
What's going to happen, because the A's are going to inevitably get rid of these guys probably before they ever see an extension. And then what? Then you're just stuck with all this crap. I mean, at least Jeter's legacy is what it is, right? It's not going anywhere.
Right.
But the thing is,
real quick, just what Mike said, if you don't like it, don't buy it. And we don't have to be outraged about anything. I'm not outraged about it, but when I look at when we discuss an exclusive, I would like to, my main point on this was that I would like to see exclusives really mean something. If we're going to sign these things with these athletes, I would like it to be, I guess, done in a more tasteful way. And that's just my opinion. But anyway, back to what you're saying, Ben.
Yeah, I mean, first off, Tops Now, although it's a decent product, once Derek Jeter has 5 or 6 products come out with his autos in it, are people really going to want to go back and grab this Tops Now stuff on the secondary? Right. It's just, to me, it just seems like a B-side, of an old record player, right? That song is, maybe good. There have been some decent B tracks along the way, but for the most part, to me, it's just devalued by the A side. So in other words, once Topps Stadium Club comes out and Topps Chrome comes out, and you get Jeter in some of these bigger products like 5-star, are you really going to go back and want to buy a Topps Now? And the thing is, if I spend $700, Val's going to have to give me $1,000 because that's just the way it's going to go, right? Yeah, he's not giving me $1,000 because if he wanted to spend $1,000, he would have bought it yesterday when he could have had it direct from Topps for $1,000, or say $700 like I had it. So I think a lot of this stuff is going to be really hard to move down the road once so much saturation of Jeter autos get out, because Topps is going to have to justify that exclusive license, which means we're going to see a lot.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It makes me think of last year with Pete Alonso. So I, as a Mets fan, did pick up a Topps Now Pete Alonso. I think it was when he broke the National League record. And I think it was like $200. And not that I was going to move it. It's got an autograph and a piece of the third base or whatever. It's got a relic on it too. So it's a little different than some of the other just plain autographs. So I was looking on eBay just to kind of see with all this craziness on the Topps Now and the Topps Project 2020, and it's basically selling for either what I got it or less than. So I was like, the saturation of the Pete Alonso autographs, So it's, everybody thinks that, you can flip everything or whatever and make all this money, but, a little lightning in a bottle.
It's amazing because, every year each team gets a guy or 2 or 3 guys that just get so released. And I think 2017, the A's had Paul Blackburn in everything, to the point where as I'm going over checklist, I'm like, this guy, first off, he sucks. Okay?
I remember getting Blackburn and everything.
And last year, 2018, it was Dustin Fowler. And it's just like, these guys are either going to be something in the majors and then good for Ben if he ever decided to sell this stuff, which he wouldn't. But it's like how much Paul Blackburn stuff. I don't even think Mama Blackburn wants this many autographs of her kid. You know, it's like it's too much stuff. And again, you know, that time that your kid comes home and gives you something handmade for your birthday or Father's Day, something they made it to, you know,
best feeling in the world.
Yeah, right. Yeah. When Jude gives you something, Bentley gives me something, right? It's fantastic. But,
greatest.
But how many times can you hang Jude on the refrigerator before you go, you know what? Yeah, I love you, but you've given me the purple refractor color of just scribbling, and then you gave me the red one, and you call it a dinosaur, but to me it just looks like some lines. And I love you, but my refrigerator, my refrigerator is only yay big, you know, so, you know, as much as we love some of this stuff, at some point it just becomes so overwhelming that, you know, now collectors start to get that hobby fatigue that we talk about every once in a while. I don't know what to collect. I do know what to collect, and I get tired of it all the time to the point where I look at checklists and go, oh, Mark McGuire's not on it? Thank God. And I should not be thinking that, right? If that's my guy and he's on my team, why? It's the exact opposite of what I'm thinking about or should be thinking about, right? But there's just so much of it.
Yeah. I mean, there really is. And then you get, I mean, I just saw today that now Mosaic's going to have yet another version coming out. But another different type of parallel variation. So, I mean, it keeps going and going and going.
It does to the point where I look at a checklist and see Mark McGuire, St. Louis Cardinals, and I go, hey, honey, we just saved $600 this month. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I joked the other day a rainbow pretty soon is going to involve a binder. Like I used to be able to fit it on one of those little 12 beautiful card plaques from like any of the hobby shop stores or whatever. But now, I mean, a rainbow is literally a binder full of stuff. It's 70, 80 cards to fill one. So, I mean, hey, it is, you know, it can definitely intimidate people. It's changed my form of collecting. I mostly for a long time, you know, my Panther PC was nothing but Topps Chrome, and it was building all the rainbows from all those years. But that's when it was two cards, 3 cards, 5 cards, 7. You know, once it got to 10 or 11, you know, it got a little annoying. Now I look at it and I'm just like, yeah, no rookie that they draft is worth chasing 65 different colors of.
No, and you know, my binder, you know, a normal size binder, of nothing but A's cards from 2020, right? So you've got a couple of Bowman releases, Donruss, Panini Select, and then all of your Topps products, but it's been limited due to COVID. And I'm already done with this binder to where it's June 1st, right? It's the beginning of June, and I'm already having to get into a second binder, and there have been less products thus far. And we're not even talking about Living, which goes in another binder, and Project 2020, which doesn't go in a binder at all. And it's like, sweet Jesus, my PC is very niche compared to so many others. I can't imagine how. I mean, 5,000 count boxes on top of 5,000 count boxes, is that what it takes every month nowadays? I mean, It really does.
No, I completely agree. And once again, guys, the link is posted down in the chat. I'm going to post it again now, but feel free to call in and join the show. Let us know have any questions, anything you would like to discuss, anything going on in the hobby. Give us a call. Let us know as always. But Val, you know, you do a lot of NASCAR stuff. You know, when it goes like that, and we talk about it. How is it in NASCAR? Because I mean, I follow it a little bit, but is it? I mean, are you guys finally getting more products? Because I know for a long time you guys were wanting more.
So we had 5 products a year for a couple of years, and then we dropped to 4 last year. Dominos always hits in the second week in February, just in time for Daytona. Unfortunately, they're using last year's photos, whatever. But the first release after that usually has been. I guess it was like last month, but because of all this going on, they've actually removed Victory Lane, and that was a product that came out 2 years. But we're going to have Chronicles, but it's not dropping until the beginning of August. So we're going to have Chronicles, Prism, and then National Treasures, and that's it for us. So I like the pace. It allows me to collect what I want to collect, and then also look at stuff from last year or other press pass stuff or whatever. But it's not as it just seems like you guys are trying to drink out of a fire hose if you're trying to collect everything. And we used to have a Panini Instant set, but they canned that after 2 years, so we don't even have an on-demand type thing. So, but Panini does a little thing with, I think it's instant access. They did Gray, Galding, and Joey Logano last year at the dealer, when the dealers come to Panini, and some of those to chase. So we got a little bit to chase, but nowhere near like you guys.
Yeah, it makes it challenging. No matter, we get so many questions all the time, and I'm sure you guys do as well. People are just frustrated with not knowing what to collect, and that hobby fatigue sets in because it's so draining for us. We've been around. I think just between the hobby hotline, I think we have well over 200 plus years of collective collecting experience. And
let's add in real fast. Speaking of people on Hobby Hotline, let's add in someone real fast. Actually, another host, Mr. Big Shep. So now there's a little more years into the hobby. But
What's
continue,
up,
Ben. What's up, Shep?
It's tough, especially since we are content creators and we are trying to assist fellow collectors and try to help them along their path. If we're getting frustrated with the sheer amount of releases and the fact that, not by design, we have to have a 7 to 10 day attention span because something new comes out or multiple new things or nothing comes out next week. And the next thing you know, there's 2 retail products that were unannounced. And it's like, where'd those come from? The only reason I know about them is because somebody gobbled them all up. And now they're all over Facebook selling them for a 3x multiplier. And it's just like, it would have been nice to at least know. That way I can locate a checklist that probably isn't going to be out yet. And
absolutely.
It's challenging. And hopefully as a group, as a whole hobby, we can, stay as patient as we can and help everybody along the way.
Yep. All right, let's bring Big Shep in now. What's going on, bud? How's it going?
What's up, fellas? Just topping in. I want to remind you guys to let you know that if you call in today on the show, you're going to get an extra entry into that Bowman giveaway that Monster or the Mojo Break gave us. So they gave us 2 boxes of hobby to give away. And if you send out a tweet or a Facebook post with the hashtag Hobby Hotline Hotness and tag 5 people and tell them about the show, that's an entry. But if you call in, we did this last week on the show, you got an entry as well. So call in, check, speak the truth on here. Let us know what's going on. And we're going to give it away on episode 3 next Monday. 2 hobby boxes, one of the hottest stuff going right now. So
wow,
I just want to let you guys know that and keep up the great work. I'm enjoying the show today. And Ben, how big are those binders though, man? You already filled it up, 1/2 inch.
No, those are the regular
4-inch binder already. Are you?
I'll tweet a picture out and tag both our show and you.
Yeah.
It's just now. Granted, I bought 10 Donruss parallel sets, but that's only true. 10 pages.
Because
a lot of parallels.
Donruss the only thing we had for a while.
It is that. And I went down the list and I'm like, there are no more parallel sets to build for Gypsy Queen and Donruss, and then Project 2020 release. But
my last question: is there a worse team at PC than the Carolina Panthers?
The East Carolina Pirates, but I collect them too.
Wisconsin, baby.
Cheap, baby. Cheap.
Hey, no, enjoy, man. I mean, who collects the Royals? Like, come on now.
Right. I hear you, bud.
Waxtopia does.
Hey, keep up the great work. I just want to stop in and drop that knowledge real quick and to get it's like a $350 box.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, guys, call in. We want you in anyway. Thanks, Shep. Have a good evening with the fam. As always, awesome, guys, sir. Like he just said, Mojo, as you can see the shirt right here, who are also awesome sponsors of Let Me Get That Potograph. They are giving away 2 hobby boxes. So if you do call in, you get an extra entry. And so hit us up. As you can see.
Call in and say something you like about your PC.
Yeah.
Yell in your microphone and say, I hate this about the hobby right at the moment. Or, whatever it is. I mean, I got into it with Brian Gray last week on our show, and I got to yelling at my microphone because it was fun.
Yeah.
Vent. You're all
me
cooped up in your house
and
for
Brian
10
get in it all the time. I wish Brian
Yeah.
would get in it so we could call him now. But I love the man to death. He's the best.
Yeah, and he if you haven't had a chance to catch our show, he was completely transparent.
I did.
He was a good sport because he got roasted in our chat, and he was really gracious about it, and we had a good fun argument about why cards aren't investing.
Yeah.
It
was great.
I TKO'd him a couple of times on that.
I thought it was great.
There are people out there listening. Call. Let's get you in.
Call
What
in.
a gracious and awesome giveaway by Doug and Dan over at Mojo Break. I mean, that's ridiculous.
Seriously.
That's awesome.
And speaking of that, we do have another caller, so someone's getting another bonus entry. It is Mr. Joe Light. What's going on, bud? Don't know if we can hear you quite yet, Joe.
You have to connect with audio.
Yep. Make sure you connect that audio. I'm going to pull you off for just a second, but don't hang up. Just fix that audio, see if you can check your settings, and then we'll bring you back in. Make sure your microphone's on. But guys, do call in for those. All right, we're going to bring him back in, see if it works this time. Joe, how's it going, bud?
We hear you really lightly.
Can hear you a little bit. Barely can, though. Try calling back, Joe. We'll have you back in because we got another caller, so we'll have you fix yours,
but
and then
he still gets
an entry regardless. Yeah. But please call back. Please call back. I'd love to know what you wanted to say. But we do have another one. 3B collection. What is going on?
Not much, guys. How you doing?
Doing good. How about yourself?
Good work.
Hold on, man. I got some feedback. Now.
All right. How's everything going, bud?
Doing good. Sorting through some cards, listening to the hotline.
I hear you. What can we do?
In case you guys don't know it, 3B is one of the biggest Mets fans.
Yes,
that I know. Loves the Mets. I mean,
yes, he does.
Like monster. Like when I think Mets, I just think if you think like Round Table, you think pizza, right? You think Goldman Sachs, you think stocks, you think Mets, you think 3B. It's just the way it is.
Nah.
Yep.
No Mets.
What's going on, man?
I pulled for the A's part with the Mets.
I got a Atlanta Braves hat.
Yeah, always. Braves or Jogs?
There he goes. What's going on, man?
Now, like I said, just sort through cars, listen to y'all. Want to call in and say hello, and get my name in the hat for that Bowman box.
I hear you. Well, good luck, man. And I would say go Mets, but unfortunately, I think that might be like a year or two away before
at this
I get
point,
to see
I'd
a game.
Anybody.
Yeah, I hear you right there, bud. Well, thanks for calling in, man, and thanks for listening to the show.
All right, enjoy it.
And so we're going to try and get everyone back on here. There we go. And now we actually have another caller. He is not getting entered into the Bowman box, but it is Mr. John Newman coming to us from his hot tub. What's going on, Mr. Newman?
For the Bowman. I'm just.
John, make sure that video stays here up.
Yep.
Okay, buddy?
Yep.
We don't want to get censored there.
Yeah.
I'm kidding.
I'm in trouble here.
This is where the show jumps the shark tonight.
Yeah.
The second episode.
Yeah.
So how's it going, man?
I want Val to fly up here and jump in the hot tub with the sport coat on.
Sounds good.
He's got a million of them.
See, here's the thing. Tim calls in and says, "Is there a worse team than the Carolina Panthers to PC?" I say that the Steelers, and now Mr. Newman has to call in. That's what,
Well, listen, we haven't made the playoffs in 2 years, so it'd be hard to argue right now.
Nice hat, by the way, John.
I know, I
my
like it.
friend.
It's going to be a while before the Panthers make the playoffs.
Hey, now.
Heyo.
All right,
hey,
now we're getting personal.
I'm a Panthers fan, but they're in major reconstruction, man.
Well, John, how's everything going?
It's kind of warm up here in New York.
That's good. Well,
it's 104 right now here.
Nice. Well, glad you're enjoying the hot tub, man.
This is where all my appearances are coming from now. Just so
Wonderful.
Okay, so for
Wonderful.
anybody making a hobby hotline schedule, please make sure I'm not on with Johnny.
Yeah.
I had some notes, but they got wet.
Yep. All right. Well, we'll talk to you soon,
All
bud.
right, man. We'll see you.
I mean, take it easy. Never one to not give you a laugh. What's up, bud?
Yeah, we're not eligible, by the way, for the moment giveaway.
No.
If we were, John's not eligible now for calling in while
in a hot tub.
Hot tub.
Yeah. So
I need to just say something as a NASCAR guy. Tomorrow is the selection for the 2021 class. So, but it's not going to be released until the 16th of June. And it was supposed to be selected back in May, but because of all this going on, they postponed it. So I'm kind of heartbroken about that, but I definitely understand with everything going on, because that's where I usually go and see all these guys on the voting panel. So
yeah. I have a question for you, Val.
Yeah.
I'm not a NASCAR fan. I've watched a race here or there, and I used to follow it. I had a friend years ago that was a big NASCAR guy, so I'd follow it just to kind of give us something to talk about every week when I run into him. Now, I'm sitting in front of you. What can you say to me to help me get? It's not that I don't want to like it, right? What appeal would I have? Kind of make me a fan. What would the argument be for that?
Well, NASCAR has actually multiple layers. When I actually moved down to the South, I was not a fan of racing, because I was like, well, you just get on the track, make a left, and you finish where you started. I don't know, in my mind, thought it was like a rally or whatever, where you cross country or whatever. But having gone to a race and experience it in person, as well as the engineering and the physics and everything behind it, it's kind of amazing. Team aspect of it. People follow it. There's, like I said, multiple ways. If they just like Ford or Chevy or Toyota, or the young guys or the established guys, you have you guys I consider like New England Patriots. They win all the time, and they have all the championships. And you have the smaller underdog, underfunded teams where they might get a win here or sneak one away from one of the big teams. It's very fan friendly, family friendly. Like I said, none of the drivers or anybody charged for autographs. So before all this happened, the accessibility was incredible. And then if you live close to a track or whatever, they have appearances at the different sponsors and stuff. Brad Kozlowski for Discount Tire comes to mind, or Joe Logano for Planet Fitness. I've seen, if you follow them on Twitter or Facebook, or and if you come down to Charlotte during that stretch, they had fan days where you would come down. And I think, like, for Richard Petty, I brought my daughter at the time when she was little, and we had to bring something for school, and I think we brought some packs of pencils and some paper and stuff like that, which they ended up donating. But we got a hot dog and some Krispy Kreme donuts and autograph from Richard, and I think it was, and a couple of the drivers, Eric Amarola and Marcus Ambrose at the time, and Dale Inman. So two of them are Hall of Famers, and the other two were current. So it's just it's a lot of fun to watch, and again with the sports cards and stuff. So that's kind of my take, whether you merge the sport with the cards and collect. Is also cool, when you guys follow cards, that to see them, maybe their rookie card with so much potential, and then to see them now. I was thinking the other day of the 2000 Jimmy Johnson, his rosy cheeks or whatever, and young kid, and who would have thought that this guy would have won 7 championships and getting ready to retire this year. So it's a lot of fun. I enjoy it.
I'm about an hour and a half, 2 hours away from the Sonoma Raceway in Napa, so I'll have to check a race out one of these years.
So I don't know if you have if I answered any of your questions, but
no, a lot of times, I actually asked Brian Gray about, Leaf, as a non-Leaf collector, despite the fact that I love my team and collect that, I don't really pick up a lot of his products. So, make me a fan of your product. Same kind of a thing, with sports. I think soccer is going to have a really good opportunity to get some outside fans. I think hockey, very well might when they come back, because playoff hockey is definitely a little different than all of the rest. It's just so intense. So, I think right now is a good opportunity because we all need sports so bad. Obviously that's why we're here, and that's why we collect. We love our sports and our teams. And I think some of these non-major four sports have a really good opportunity to come in and grab some attention because everybody's just thirsty for it.
No, I completely agree with you. And the soccer market in particular, I think you're about to see an absolute explosion, just because, everyone knows about Mbappe and all that stuff, but the amount of other people that are coming up, other young, you're about to see a youth movement in soccer like we saw in baseball, basketball, football the last couple of years, in addition to an incredibly exponentially growing international following for it. And you see Panini putting out some massive products of soccer now that they wouldn't before. We actually have another caller on the line we're going to bring in real quick. D Gamble joining the show. What's up, man?
Hey guys. Hey, first of all, thanks for the show. This show and a few others has helped me get back into the hobby, so it's been fantastic.
Awesome.
For me.
Awesome.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
That's what we do it for.
So a quick question with the McGuire Sousa documentary coming up this week. I know you guys have talked a lot about how those cards are overpriced, but I'm just curious if you think there's a chance that they may spike again, or if you think they've hit their peak, or what do you think is going to happen in the next week or two with those cards?
Well, I know Ben is probably the resident expert on McGuire and everything, but I want to get his take on what my answer would be. So I'm going to take this one first, real quick, Ben. But I think the rookies and everything may see a little bit more of a surge, but where I see a little bit more of the value is in some of the 90s were great about certain products having very rare inserts, very rare short printed inserts, tough to get, that kind of grab that cult-like status. And that's where I think you could see possibly a greater increase in everything would be on some of those maybe not as known cards, or just not like the most popular ones, because I think those are going to get to the point where people are going to be a little scared in terms of wanting to go any higher.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think there's a little bit more meat on the bone. I do. How much we don't know. Our other co-host, Big Shep, had made a point on our show this past week that there was a good chance that we were undervaluing a lot of that era to begin with. I'd been buying 87 McGuire tops for 50 cents, 60 cents on average for years. It's quite possible that really should be $1.25 to $1.50 card, which still doesn't sound like a lot, but that's 3 times what I've been buying it at. So if we look at a card that's a $50 card and say, well, if it started to be a $150 card tomorrow, that's 3x is an exponential growth, especially for something that's laid dormant for over 30 years. I don't think it's just going to be McGuire and Sousa. I think you'll see some of those secondary names, which are Hall of Famers, but not affiliated with the documentary. That's why I say secondary, the one-offs, guys like Griffey and Frank Thomas and so many of the other greats of the 90s. Even going back into the 80s and some of the Ripkins and Nolan Ryans, especially since they're also part of the Project 2020. A renewed interest in some of these names from our childhood and our past. But right now is not a good time to buy. If you're buying right now, you're at the top of the bell curve. You're spending way too much money. These cards have been around for 20, 30, 35 years. If you really need some of these cards in your collection, wait a couple of months. Wait till the first of the year. Wait till people's minds go away from the documentary. But I think the height of the surge will probably be over this weekend and on into next week before it starts to tail off.
Soon as basketball starts, they'll drop. When basketball starts playing games, they'll drop.
Certainly, I'm trying to offload some so I can buy some more cards for my daughter who just got into the hobby.
That's awesome.
Offload them. If you're offloading, I would offload.
Yeah.
That
how
would
old is
be
she?
my recommendation.
11.
Oh, that's awesome.
Awesome.
What a fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is she collecting?
Right now, basic tops 2020 Series 1.
Nice.
Gotcha.
We're trying to get that set, and then we'll go to Series 2.
Any specific team?
Oh, we're Nets fans.
Okay.
Okay.
Are you on Twitter by chance?
Yes.
You are. Why don't you tag a couple of us and we'll kind of see if we can get some care packages out for it.
Exactly.
Absolutely. We'll hit up some of our people and see if we can kind of, if anybody's out there listening, why don't you tell us what your Twitter handle is so that we can see if we can get some people sending some stuff her way.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I'll put it in the comments because honestly, I never look at my Twitter handle, but I think
Gotcha.
it's David.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'll just put it
Well, good deal.
Yeah.
Awesome, man. Well, thanks for the call.
Yeah, thanks,
Have a
guys.
good one. We've actually got another caller on the line. That was a great question, by the way. But we've got another caller, and as Mr. Newman would say, you can't have a show without the O. What's going on, O? How's it going, buddy?
It's going pretty great. Just had dinner.
So what's going on?
So I just got a Discord account. So do you have any recommendations for any sports card people? I mean, sports card groups on Discord? And if you can't answer that, I have another question. Don't worry.
I don't use Discord for sports cards too much. I don't know if you guys do. What's good?
Okay. No, another question.
Sure, what's up?
So which player or team do card wise is gonna benefit from the NBA starting back up?
Oh, good question, and I love that. I love it. I got a couple of different answers for that one. Thanks for the call, O. All right, so NBA starting back. I'm excited, man. I think a lot of cards, but who do you guys think? I got a couple, but I want to let you.
I'll go first since I'm the.
Yeah.
I think the Lakers, right? Lakers got the best record, and they're, I think the LeBron and all that stuff gets turned up if the deeper they go in the playoffs. So,
okay.
Because I don't know
what about you?
If you guys have seen like the Tops, I'm familiar with the that Tops factory set. I think I talked about before. It was like $50, I guess it was not too long ago, and now it's like $700.
Right. No. Yeah, absolutely. What about you, Ben?
I think the easy answer with the NBA is any of the teams that have the rookies, right? We're going to see the Pelicans. We're going to see the Grizzlies, who I think are one of the teams on the fringe right there, the 4 or 5 West teams that are going to try to play in to get into that final seed or however they're going to structure it. The NBA is very lopsided, where it's top heavy with the stars and it's side heavy with the rookies and everybody in between. You're either that top 2%, you're the 2% over here on the rookies, and anything that's not is kind of forgotten about. But I definitely think the NBA does such a phenomenal job marketing their stars, which is the complete opposite of like Major League Baseball.
Every other sport. Almost every other sport. Yeah. And this is where what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, I mean, if we were to do a picture game of names and you're putting most people outside of the hobby, right? If we're talking about, or outside of sports, I should say, casual sports fans might not be able to recognize a lot of the great Major League Baseball players by, but you're going to recognize, and how many players in NBA history were synonymous, like Madonna and Prince, with just their single name, right? From Kobe and Shaq and Larry to all the guys now, even the young guys, right? Ja and Zion, and you don't even have to have a last name in the NBA because they do such a good job marketing
their players.
If you said Mike and you're talking baseball, most people aren't going to jump to Mike Trout immediately.
Right.
But if you say LeBron, and what's the difference between LeBron and Mike Trout? Are they not the same as far as their sport goes?
Right.
They are. They're on that same level. It's just the marketing machine is different.
Yeah. No, I completely agree with you. And I mean, we talked about it a lot on multiple different shows. The NBA, they do such a great job of having a good relationship with their players, marketing. I mean, from top to bottom, they do it the right way. It's how a sports organization should be run. But to answer O's question, you kind of nailed it, I think, with the rookies. Obviously, you want to take a look at some teams that are in it with the rookies. I will tell you right now, if you think Zion and Ja are high, they're about to go a lot higher, especially considering with this format, you've got them on prime time playing each other twice to get into the playoffs. That alone is going to cause a massive spike in this. But when I'm looking at this, I look at players like Kendrick Nunn from the Heat, Tyler Hero of the Heat. Look at, like Joe Light says, Terrence Davis of the Raptors, Rui Hachimura, somebody else with the big international following. If he puts up any kind of showing, his cards are going to soar. But someone even like a Brandon Clark, but a team like my main guy is Kendrick Nunn, and that's because I think the Heat are going to end up playing the Bucks to go to the NBA Finals, and I think you're going to see Kendrick Nunn leading the way through that. And I think he's incredibly undervalued. So that would be one of mine. You don't have to go buy him because I'm buying quite a bit of them, but that would be who I would look after. And then the person I think who's going to benefit the absolute most this year is Giannis. He's going to win his second MVP. Could possibly win a championship, and I think this is where you really start to see Giannis take off. So, hopefully I answered that question. And before we go, guys, we got one more caller. So, Chris Harris, what's going on, man?
Hey, I just wanted to chime in. A buddy of mine this weekend says that he sold an unopened case of 87 tops this weekend. For $1,000.
Wow.
And this case has been sitting in his basement for at least a decade.
Yeah.
So things are kind of stupid right now.
So, real quick, Chris. 6 months ago, what was that case going to sell for? Just to kind of give everybody an idea.
Couldn't sell it.
Probably $100.
Yeah, 100. I saw him at the National.
150.
I saw him at the National for 125. I mean, I could have got him at the National all day long for 125.
Crazy. And like Val said,
if you're sitting on a ton of junk wax, go cash in right now.
Yeah.
Get that money.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. Once this documentary airs, I think, in the next month, 60 days, we're going to see not necessarily a crash, but you're definitely going to see that bell curve drop, and it'll be a down slope. So, and you're going to see a lot of people that overpaid for an 85 and an 87 McGuire that are going to be like, I can get these at a fraction of what I paid, even if it's above what Ben paid for years. And you're going to want to see a lot of people probably going to try to cash out because, I mean, some of these cards are not worth what people have been paying for them.
Yeah.
And we all know that.
The kind of people that, and this is just my observation here, the kind of people that have gotten back into card collecting especially over the last couple of months, it kind of reminds me of the same kind of people that got into daily fantasy about 5 years ago, or poker about a dozen 15, or so years ago,
15 years ago,
or day trading 20 years ago. And, you have like a small number of people, a cognitive elite of people that have the analytical skills to run the numbers in their head or to create an algorithm that make a lot of money. And then you have a lot of these other people, whether you call them fish, whether you call them marks, whatever, who kind of buy into the hype, that think that they're in on it, they're going to make a ton of money on it, and they wind up losing their shirts.
Right.
And I kind of feel sorry for this guy that just paid $1,000 for a case of 87 tops, but then again, I don't, because I'm happy for my friend, and I kind of wish that I had saved a case of 87 tops.
Right.
For a time like this.
I don't blame you there, Chris.
So that's $50 a box.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Just about. Yeah.
For something that you could have had for 10 a month.
Yeah.
Months ago.
Yeah. What are they?
I
Chris,
need to
thanks so
probably
much.
get again for 10 a couple months from now.
I don't know about 10, but maybe somewhere around 15. There. But
see, even if it's at 20, I mean, like I had mentioned with the 87 when we were talking to D Gamble, you have a 20, or a 2x jump against that is phenomenal, especially for something that's been sitting waterlogged in the guy's basement for 30 years.
Yes.
But it's still 800% less than what the other guy paid, or 300% less, or whatever. Ultimately, at the end of the day, that numbers work out to be, and that's really where I've gotten into so many conversations with people who are like, well, is this not the new market worth? Because it's what people are paying in the fluid market. I'm like, yeah, I suppose you could argue that, But if it's just a snapshot of 30, 60, 90 days with a lot of extenuating variables that we've never seen in this world, let alone in this hobby, I'd be very careful to call that the new market. It's just an artificial market within, years and decades of a hobby. We're going to look back on this period and go, wow, what were people thinking?
It's Dutch tulips all over again. So,
yeah,
absolutely. Well,
look
thanks
it up
for the
on
call,
Wikipedia,
Chris.
kids.
Yep, exactly. Have
See
a
you,
good
Chris.
one, bud. All right, once again, thanks so much. Mr. Newman, I'm sure you are waterlogged. Get out of the hot tub. But anyway, y'all, any more calls before we have to go? Get them in here in just a moment. If not, guys, remember the Bowman giveaway. 2 hobby boxes of this year's Bowman. These things are absolute monster boxes. Some of the hottest boxes in the hobby. Thanks to Mojo Break. You can simply go on to on Twitter and check out, and on Facebook, and see how to share to enter into that, as well as calling into the show. We'll be giving that away on next Monday's show. So you do have a little bit of time to get that in, and you can also call in Saturday as well. But
do we know
anything?
Yeah, do we know who is hosting on Saturday? Do we have that handy?
Monday or Saturday?
Saturday.
Hold on, I'll tell you.
Yes, Val
We're
tell us, because
bringing the
he's
tough
got it.
questions
Yeah.
at the end of the show.
We are. I mean, it's big. Got to stump somebody. David, absolutely, man. We'll make sure we can get
We'll see if we can get a couple packages. You're down,
man.
Gotta love that. She's 11.
No, I love it.
Gotta love the kids are getting involved.
Dude,
because they're a smaller contingency, a smaller group.
Yes.
Within our hobby, and I love seeing that. And if we can get her interested in this hobby long term, and she can be that next generation.
Yeah. Well, I know Jude's face when he gets his cards and stuff he wants, and so I absolutely want to get something over. So we definitely will get David. I'll be getting in touch with you. I know. So Val, who was it on Saturday?
613 is Tim, Ben, and Val.
All right. So you guys,
news to me.
Shep.
News to me. All right.
Yeah. That's how we do it here. As you guys can see, we are incredibly organized. But
that's right.
Once again, thanks everyone for tuning in to episode 2 of our Monday Night Heat. I feel like Tony Schiavone or Jim Ross or something. But till next week, you guys, have a good one. We'll talk to you on Saturday.